The knock arrives at 6 a.m., precise as always. "Still with us, Papa?" My son's voice seeps through the door, half teasing, half probing. I heave myself up, joints creaking. As his footsteps retreat, I catch a murmur. He doesn't know I hear, such a burden soft, almost lost in the corridor's echo. I sit, staring at the door, those words sinking in. This is the house I poured my soul into, the one I toiled for. Yet to them I'm already fading. What they don't know is the secret I've kept, one that'll shake this house and their world. Don't forget to subscribe and share where you're tuning in from. The room carries a faint scent of pine and dust. My hands rest on the quilt Anna wove long ago, each stitch holding her quiet strength. She made small things feel eternal, as if her creations could ward off harm. Since she passed 3 winters back, silence has grown into a presence here. Lucas moved in with his wife Clara and their son Felix to look after me. I believed him at first. I don't anymore. In the hallway, the air feels thinner, sharper. Lucas's voice drifts from the kitchen, bright and forced, the tone he uses when Clara's around. "He's still asleep," he says, followed by the soft clink of mugs. I know the routine. Coffee comes to me only after their private breakfast, like I'm an afterthought in my own home. I grip the banister, fingers tracing the wood I sanded 4 decades ago. Every inch of this place holds a piece of me. Weekends nailing beams with Anna steadying the other end. Late nights wiring lights to save on costs. Summers sweating over roof tiles. This isn't just a house. It's evidence I built something enduring, or so I thought. Lucas spots me as I step into the kitchen. "Morning, Papa," he says, his voice brisk but civil enough for Felix, who's at the table shoveling cereal. Coffee's on the counter. Clara doesn't look up from her phone. "Morning," she mutters, thumbs tapping. I glimpse a real estate app on her screen. I take the coffee, black, no sugar. Lucas used to know I take 1 spoonful. He's forgotten. "You're up early," he says, rinsing his mug. "Big day today." I don't ask what he means. Questions in this house bring answers you'd rather not hear. I sip and watch Felix, his legs swinging under the chair, oblivious to the tension coiling among us. Clara sets her phone down. Lucas and I have been talking. It's time for some changes. My eyes stay on the steam curling from my mug. "Changes." "Right," Lucas chimes in. "This place is too much for you, Papa. Too much upkeep. We could downsize, find somewhere simpler, maybe near a clinic." The hint is clear. I'm not a person to them, just a problem to manage. I sip again, then say, "And the house?" Clara glances at Lucas. "We've been checking the market. It's strong right now, the market. As if this is just another property, not the backbone of my life." I nod slowly, the way you do when you're filing away every word. That afternoon, I retreat to my workshop in the garage. Dust coats the tools, but the scent of oil and wood shavings feels like an old friend. Here's where I keep the safe. Lucas and Clara think it holds only papers, deeds, Anna's jewelry, birth certificates. They don't know about the hidden compartment behind the false panel, the ledger, or the velvet pouch that could upend everything. I trace the safe's metal door, feeling the weight of years. Anna and I planned ahead, not just for retirement, but for the unexpected. "You never know, Hans," she'd say, "how people change when money's involved." She was right. God, she was right. From the garage window, I see Lucas in the yard, on the phone, pacing with that tilt of his head he gets when he's bargaining. He's smiling, but not the way he does with Felix. This smile is for someone he's trying to charm. I check the safe. Everything's there. The lawyer's letter, our signed documents, the bank statements for the $900,000. I'm not ready to reveal it yet, but soon. Dinner is quiet. Felix chatters about a school project, his voice rising and falling with a child's trust that everyone's listening. Lucas nods. Clara chews. I focus on my plate. When Felix asks if we can build a birdhouse this weekend, Lucas cuts in before I can reply. We'll see, buddy. Grandpa's got a lot going on, I don't argue. Instead, I catch Felix's eye and smile. We'll find time, I say. He beams, and for a moment, the weight in my chest eases. After dinner, I return to my room. The knock will come again tomorrow, right on time. But each day, I feel the clock ticking, not the one on the wall, but the one inside me. And when it strikes, Lucas and Clara won't see it coming. Inside the velvet pouch lies Anna's engagement ring, the one Lucas once asked to borrow for an event and never gave back. I'd told him it was at the jeweler's for polishing. In truth, I hid it away, knowing greed could one day outweigh sentiment. The lawyer's letter remains, its seal untouched. Sometimes I'm tempted to break it open just to read Anna's words again, but I promised myself to wait until the moment is right. She wanted it that way. Felix and I finish the birdhouse just as Lucas and Clara return. Lucas barely glances at it. Nice work, he says, already on his phone. Clara mutters about garage clutter as she passes. Felix's smile fades, and I rest a hand on his shoulder. We'll hang it tomorrow, I tell him. That night, in bed, I think of the years since Anna's passing. The first year was brutal, learning to cook for one. The bed too vast. The silence after dusk pressing against me. Lucas's offer to move in seemed like salvation then. We'll look out for each other, he'd said. But slowly, the scales tipped. My routines bent to theirs. My fridge filled with their tastes. My yard hosting their friends' gatherings. They never asked for the deed outright, but their talks circled it like wolves closing in. 3 months ago, I overheard Lucas on the phone, whispering about cashing out assets and market timing. I didn't confront him. Instead, I called my lawyer the next day. That's when the plan took root. Not vengeance, but a correction. A way to restore what Anna and I intended. The next weekend, I test the waters. At breakfast, I mention an old friend from my construction days thinking of downsizing. Says he might sell his place cheap. Ocean view. Even Lucas's head snaps up. Where? Just outside Monterey, I say offhand. Needs some fixing, but it's got potential. Clara glances at Lucas, calculations flickering in their eyes. Monterey screams money. Vacation rentals, weekend escapes. Lucas smiles too warmly. Could be good for you, Papa. Smaller place. Sea breeze. You'd like it. I sip my coffee, hiding the grin tugging at me. The hook is set. That afternoon, I take Felix to the park. We sit by the pond, tossing bread to the ducks. Grandpa, he says, why's Dad always upset when you talk about the house? I pause. Sometimes grown-ups focus on money and forget what makes a home. He nods, understanding more than he should. Back home, Lucas is in the living room with a stack of papers, shoving them into a drawer when he sees me. Just bills, he says too fast. I don't push. Patience builds houses and undoes schemes. That night, I write my lawyer, confirming the documents are ready and setting a meeting date. I slip the letter into the outgoing mail before Lucas stirs the next morning. The knock comes at 6 o'clock, back on schedule. But this time, Lucas's voice is overly bright. "Morning, Papa. Big day today. Got a surprise for you. I can guess what's coming. I'm ready." The surprise is anything but pleasant. Lucas and Clara wait in the living room as I come down for breakfast. Papers spread across the coffee table like they're staging a pitch. Lucas wears a polished smile, the kind he practiced before job interviews. Clara, sleeves rolled up, leans back like it's already settled. "Morning, Papa," Lucas says, patting the couch. "We've been discussing options to make life easier for you." I don't sit, grabbing my coffee and standing by the doorway. "Life's fine as is," I say, blowing on the steam. Clara leans forward, hands clasped. "We've looked at retirement communities, great facilities, on-site doctors, social events. You'd be with people your age, away from my family's age," I counter. Lucas's smile twitches, but he presses on. "This house is a lot to handle. Yard work, repairs, bills. Honestly, Papa, it's not safe for you climbing ladders or shoveling snow." I sip slowly. I built this place. Every plank, every nail. If it needs fixing, I'll handle it. Lucas and Clara exchange a glance, rehearsed and telling. Clara slides a glossy brochure across the table. "Just take a look. Spacious units. And the buy-in would be covered if we repurpose this property." "Repurpose?" I echo. "That's what we're calling it." Lucas sighs like I'm the problem. "Papa, this is a chance. A smaller place for you. And the equity from this house could do more." "Do more for who?" I ask. Silence. Felix shuffles in, rubbing his eyes. "Grandpa, park today?" Lucas stiffens. "Not today, Felix. Grandpa's busy." I kneel to Felix's level. "Tomorrow, buddy." "Promise." He nods, shoulders drooping, and heads to the kitchen. I turn to Lucas and Clara. "I'll think about it," I say, my mind already set. When they leave, I call my lawyer. It's time. We set a meeting for next week, the first real step. That afternoon, I walk the property, noting not repairs, but memories. The porch where Anna and I shared summer coffees. The oak we planted when Lucas was born, now shading half the yard. The garage wall scratched from Felix's bike lessons. They see a property. I see a life. Over the next few days, Lucas turned sweeter, too attentive, bringing coffee, asking about my sleep, even cooking my favorite stew one night. It's too calculated. On Thursday, while Lucas is at work and Clara's out, a man in a blazer knocks, clipboard in hand. "Here for the appraisal," he says. "For what?" I ask. He falters. "The upcoming sale." I tell him there's no sale and shut the door. I call Lucas. He answers, too casual. "Oh, Papa, just a mix-up." "I'll fix it." No apology. That night, I overhear Lucas and Clara arguing in the kitchen after they think I'm asleep. Words like deadline and buyer drift upstairs. Lucas is sharp, Clara's defensive. The next morning, I escalate quietly. In the attic, I sift through boxes, holiday decorations, old tools, photo albums, until I find the ledger from my contracting days. Pages of meticulous records, including cash jobs no one but me knew about. They paid for college, trips, early mortgage payments, and something else. A private account in my name at a bank Lucas doesn't know exists. The balance isn't massive, but it's enough. $900,000 to move without their permission. That afternoon, I visit the bank. The manager, a friend since his teller days, meets me in his office. I arrange to secure certain documents and a safe deposit box in my name. Back home, Lucas is in the driveway with a woman I don't know. holding a notepad and measuring tape. They freeze when I approach. "Just a friend?" Lucas says quickly. "She's into home design." I nod, playing along. That evening, Felix finds me in the garage. "Grandpa, Dad says we might move. Says you'll have a new place and we'll visit." I set down my screwdriver. "Did he?" Felix bites his lip. "I don't want to visit. I want you here." I crouch, eye to eye. Sometimes people build plans without asking the right questions. But plans can shift. Felix looks at me for a long moment, then nods, as if he's chosen to trust me. The rest of the week is a tightrope walk, playing clueless while quietly moving pieces into place. I meet my lawyer again, finalizing documents Anna prepared before she passed. Her foresight anchors everything I'm about to do. By Sunday, Lucas's patience is fraying. At breakfast, he says, "Papa, we can't keep stalling. There's an offer on the table, a good one. We should take it." I meet his gaze. "And if I say no?" He sets his coffee down hard. "Then you're making a mistake." Clara chimes in. "You're not thinking long-term, Hans. This is about security for all of us." "I've got security," I say softly. "You just don't know where." Lucas frowns. "What's that supposed to mean?" I don't answer. Not yet. Patience has carried me for months, but it's got an expiration date, and mine's near. Monday dawns with a brittle sky, thin winter light that promises more warmth than it delivers. I'm at the kitchen table, coffee in hand, when Lucas strides in, dressed for work. His boots click on the tile like a metronome. Clara follows, scrolling her phone, eyes elsewhere. They're not talking to each other. Intriguing. Lucas grabs a protein bar, avoids my gaze. "There's an open house this week," he says, voice sharp. "A property you should see. Smaller, modern, single story. Perfect for you." I sip slowly. "I'll pass." His jaw tightens. "Papa, this isn't optional. You can't keep rattling around in this old place forever." I lean back, holding his stare. "You say rattling like I'm a ghost." He flinches, barely, but recovers fast. "You're twisting my words." Clara clears her throat, eyes on her screen. "It's practical, Hans. The market's hot. Sell high. Buy something manageable." "And where would you live?" I ask. Lucas hesitates. "We'd figure it out." I don't push. Silence is leverage. People fill it, revealing more than they mean to. When they leave, I head to Anna's study. Her desk, worn smooth by years of her touch, holds a manila envelope where I left it last week. Inside are copies of our wills, the house deed, and the amendments we made after Lucas married Clara. Those changes strip him as sole beneficiary, placing the house in a living trust with conditions he'd rather not know yet. I trace Anna's handwriting in the margins. She always planned 3 steps ahead, warning me, without malice, that Lucas might see the house as a paycheck before a home. I didn't believe her then. I do now. That afternoon, Felix finds me in the backyard, clutching a worn soccer ball, cheeks flushed from the cold. "Can we kick it around?" he asks. We do, me lobbing it gently to spare my knee. Between kicks, he talks about school, his science project, how Dad says they might take a big trip this summer. "Where to?" I ask. He shrugs. "Somewhere with a beach." "Depends on selling the house," I catch the ball. "Hold it a beat too long. How do you feel about that?" Another shrug, but his eyes drift to the house. "I like it here. My room smells like summer, even now that night. While Lucas is upstairs and Clara's watching TV, I sit at the kitchen table with my ledger and a small lockbox. Inside are the original property keys, unchanged after 30 years. They unlock more than doors, memories, and the hidden compartment in the basement wall I built in our second year here. It's small, holding a few binders, sealed envelopes, and an external hard drive. The binders contain receipts, contracts, and photos, proving every major upgrade to this house came from my accounts alone. Proof this home was mine before Lucas and Clara crossed the threshold. Tuesday, I call my lawyer, scheduling a Thursday meeting. Bring everything, he says. And Hans, don't tip them off. I chuckle dryly. Think I'm new at this? Wednesday evening, Lucas comes home early, carrying grocery bags, smiling like all's well. Thought we'd have dinner together, he says, unpacking pasta and greens. It's the first time in months he's offered to cook for me. We eat, just us two, and for a moment, it feels like before Anna passed. Then Lucas leans back, wine glass in hand. Papa, you know Clara and I always want what's best for you. I set down my fork. Is that what you call it? His eyes narrow. I don't know why you're so stubborn. We're talking about simplifying your life. My life's simple, I say. Wake up, make coffee, read the paper, watch the people I love become strangers. He doesn't like that. You're being dramatic. I smile thinly. And you're being obvious. He shoves his plate aside. Fine, but don't expect me to wait while you make choices that affect us all. Thursday is gray and damp. I take the bus downtown, another layer of misdirection. The less Lucas and Clara know about my moves, the better. At the lawyer's office, we review the trust, contingency clauses, and account statements for the $900,000. He nods. You've got them cornered, Hans. Keep the surprise. I can do that, I say. Back home, Lucas is in the driveway, phone to his ear, voice low. Yeah, we'll move forward, he says, hanging up when he sees me. Who was that? I ask. Work, he replies too fast. I've been a father long enough to spot a lie. That night, I stay up late. Hearing Clara come in from the garage, muttering about timelines and contracts. I jot the words in a notebook by my bed. Every detail counts. By Friday, tension hums in the house. Lucas is polite but curt. Clara avoids me. Felix feels it, retreating to his room with headphones. After dinner, I call Felix to the garage, the air thick with motor oil and cedar. I hand him a small wrapped package. Don't open it now, I say. Keep it safe. Don't tell anyone, not even your dad. He nods, serious. What is it? Something you'll understand later. It's a brass key on a leather cord, one that might open the right door someday. Back inside, Lucas watches me from the hallway, his expression unreadable. For the first time, I wonder if he's sensing I'm not as pliable as he hoped. Good. Pliability was never the plan. Saturday morning bites with cold that seeps into your bones. I'm in the garage, pulling a wooden crate from behind dusty paint cans. Anna and I once stored holiday decorations in it, but now it holds manila folders labeled in my handwriting. I carry it to the kitchen. The house is still. Lucas took Felix to soccer, and Clara's out on errands, likely meeting someone for a deal she won't explain. I open the first folder, photocopied checks from the late 90s, receipts for every major house purchase, and letters Anna and I wrote when we refinanced to cover Felix's school tuition. I trace her script with my thumb. Love you more than the days ahead. Her absence hits hard. Then I close the folder. Sentiment can wait. Strategy can't. By the time Lucas and Felix return, The crate is back in the basement compartment, locked tight. I'm in my recliner, newspaper open, as if I've been there all morning. Lucas barely glances at me as he drops his bag. "That open house I mentioned," he says, grabbing a glass of water. "It's tomorrow at noon. I want you there. No excuses." "I'll think about it," I say. His eyes narrow. "No, Papa, you're coming." Clara and I already spoke to the agent. The way he says agent betrays more than he knows. Not an agent, the agent. This isn't a casual visit. It's a step in a plan already rolling. That night, I jot in my notebook. Lucas, open house. Agent briefed. Sunday morning, I pull on my heavy coat and let Lucas drive me to the open house. The place is pristine. Modern kitchen, no stairs, bright windows. Too perfect. Like a gilded cage for a bird meant to stay put. The agent beams. "Mr. Weber, I hear you're looking for something low maintenance." "I'm not looking," I say flatly. Lucas jumps in. "He's just stubborn. We'll get him there." I wander the rooms, hands in pockets, pretending to inspect while noting details. The agent's overly cheery tone. Lucas avoiding price talk in my presence. Clara's absence, likely handling something they don't want me to hear. On the drive back, Lucas rambles about how freeing a smaller place would be. "You could travel," he says. "I like where I am," I reply. His grip tightens on the wheel. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." I stay silent. Silence is leverage. Monday marks the shift. My lawyer calls. "Hans, the title search confirms it. The house is under the trust you and Anna set up. Any sale needs your written consent, yours alone, my ace." I thank him. Tell him to hold it until I give the word. At lunch, I find Felix in the backyard, kicking a ball against the fence. "You know," I say, "your grandmother planted roses along that fence every spring." He smiles faintly. "Dad told me. Said they were her favorite. They were." I nod. "She planted them to outlast the seasons." He tilts his head, curious. "Like what you're doing now?" I'm caught off guard. "What makes you say that?" "You're different," he says. "Quieter, but not sad. Like you're waiting kids see too much." "Maybe I am," I say, "but it's nothing bad." That night, after everyone's asleep, I pull the crate from the basement and spread its contents on the dining table. Documents, photos, the original mortgage contract. I add a USB drive with scanned copies, digital insurance. I seal the drive in a padded envelope, addressed to a trusted friend out of state, and slip it into the morning mail. By Wednesday, Lucas is on the phone more, taking calls in his car, the laundry room, or the porch, coat pulled tight. When he hangs up, he wears a smile that thinks it's getting away with something. Thursday, Clara tries small talk over breakfast. "Ever think of a warm escape to Florida for a bit?" "No," I say. "Too much to do here." She laughs, but it's strained. "What's keeping you?" "You're retired," I meet her eyes. "You'd be surprised." Friday evening, Lucas announces they're going out for dinner. "We'll be late," he says. The second their car leaves, I move. From the basement compartment, I retrieve a smaller, older lockbox. Inside are bank statements from an account Lucas and Clara don't know exists. Its $900,000 balance built from years of quiet saving and investments Anna and I made. At the kitchen table, light dim, I transfer small amounts to a new account in Felix's name, enough to grow substantial by the time he's 18. When Lucas and Clara return, I'm in the living room, book in hand. Lucas asks, "Good night, Papa?" I nod. "Good enough." Saturday morning, Lucas corners me in the hallway. Papa, I know you think we're pushing, but this is for your good. You can't manage this house forever. Maybe not, I say, but I can for now. He sighs. I wish you'd trust us. I smile thinly. Trust is earned. Later, Felix slips me a folded note when no one's looking, his scrawled handwriting saying, Grandpa, I heard Dad say he's meeting the agent again next week. I think they're planning something. I burn the note in the fireplace, not because I doubt him, but because I believe him. By Sunday evening, the house feels heavier, conversations clipped. They know I'm not bending easily. I know they're not backing off. We're on a collision course, but I'm ready for the impact. They aren't. Monday morning, I decide I'm done playing defense. Timing is everything in a fight worth winning. Lucas is in the kitchen, pouring coffee when I walk in. He glances up, surprised. You're up early. Couldn't sleep, I say, opening the fridge for milk I don't need. Thought about that open house. His face lights up. Growing on you? In a way, I say. Made me realize how much I value what I've got. His expression sours, and I nearly smile. 1 step forward for him, 2 steps back. After breakfast, I pull on my work jacket and head out. The cold stings my ears, but it's a sharp, living cold. At the local credit union, where they still know my name, I meet a trusted manager and secure a safe deposit box. Into it go duplicates of the crate's contents: trust papers, mortgage contracts, the deed, Anna's life insurance policy. I leave feeling lighter. Lucas and Clara might search the house, but they'll find nothing that matters. Back home, Clara's car is in the driveway. She's in the living room, laptop open, papers scattered. You know, she says without looking up, a guy at my office could streamline downsizing, makes estate transfers easy, not interested, I say. She glances at me, smiling like a salesperson. You don't even want to hear the numbers? I've run my numbers, I say. They work fine. She leans back. You've gotten secretive lately. I let the silence linger, then walk away. Silence unnerves, and nervous people slip. That afternoon, Felix comes home from school and finds me in my study. Dad's been talking to the agent again, he whispers. I heard him on the phone. Said you're coming around, just need the right push. I nod. Did he say what that push is? He shakes his head. Just that he and Mom have a plan. I thank him, then shift the topic. The less he feels like a mole, the safer he is. That night, I dig through the basement filing cabinet. Most of it's junk, tax records, old manuals, but in the bottom drawer, I find gold. The original appraisal from when Anna and I bought the house. The number's laughable now, but it proves one thing. The equity is ours, Anna's and mine, not Lucas's or Clara's. The next morning, I visit my lawyer again. I want to add a clause to the trust, I tell him. If the house is sold in my lifetime, the proceeds go to a restricted account for Felix, not a cent to Lucas or Clara. He raises an eyebrow. That'll spark a tough talk later. I'm not after talk, I say. I'm after protection. We draft the amendment. I sign it. He files it immediately. By lunch, the paper trail is ironclad. Back home, Lucas waits in the hallway. Where were you? He asks. Out with an old friend, I say. He stares, trying to read me. Papa, you're not doing anything foolish, are you? Define foolish, I reply, brushing past. Wednesday evening, Clara suggests a family dinner, a rarity. Halfway through, she mentions a friend who sold his property and retired. He's traveling now. No upkeep, no family drama. Lucas jumps in. Exactly what we've been saying, Papa. You could relax, live a little. I set down my fork. I am living. This is my version. Clara forces a laugh, but her grip on her wine glass betrays frustration. Lucas studies me, gauging how much harder to push. Thursday morning, I make a calculated move. I call a handyman to fix things Lucas claims are broken. A loose porch step, a dripping faucet, a creaky hinge. By day's end, the house feels sturdier than it has in years. Lucas notices. Trying to make it unsellable? He asks. I'm just tending to what's mine, I say. Friday, I set the first real trap. I leave a copy of the original trust, not the updated one, on my desk, visible from the hallway. That night, I hear Lucas's footsteps pause outside the study, then the soft rustle of paper. I let him think he's found something valuable. Saturday morning, he's oddly chipper. Papa, maybe we could all take a family trip this spring. You, me, Clara, Felix, somewhere warm. It's bait, a way to get me out of the house. Sounds nice, I say. I'll think about it. That afternoon, Felix finds me in the garage. Dad told me to check if you're free the first week of April. Said it's important I thank him, slipping a folded 20 into his palm for new cleats. He grins, but his eyes hold worry. By Sunday, I know their plan. Use the trip to push paperwork, signatures, maybe even change locks. But the safe deposit box, lawyer's files, and amended trust render their scheme useless. I'm not ready to show my cards yet. The best part of a game isn't winning. It's watching the other side realize they've lost. Tuesday evening, as I rinse my plate after dinner, Lucas announces, Papa, we booked that trip we talked about, first week of April. His voice is too bright, calculated. Florida, warm beaches, fresh air, you'll love it. He adds, deposits down, non-refundable. Clara leans in the doorway, arms crossed, a faint smirk. It'll be good for you, Hans. You've been cooped up too long. Cooped up. The words land like stones, rippling through me. They're not wrong. I've stayed within these walls for months. But staying put teaches you every creak, every squeak, every hiding place. I'll think about it, I say. Lucas's smile tightens. You don't need to think. We've arranged for the neighbor to check on the house while we're gone. The tell, if we're all gone, why involve the neighbor? I nod like I buy it. Thoughtful. I'd expected this since Felix mentioned their push. It's dressed as kindness, an offer I can't reasonably refuse. But reasonable only works on those who don't see the full equation. The days before the trip are a masterclass in subtle manipulation. Lucas fusses over my wardrobe, insisting I'll need new summer shirts. Clara talks up renting a big car in Florida, assuming I'm in. One night, I overhear Lucas on the phone in the hallway, his back to me. Yeah, first week of April. No, he doesn't suspect anything. Papers will be ready. The next morning, I detour to my lawyer's office unannounced. Change of plans, I say. Authorize a transfer from my main account to a new one, sole beneficiary Felix, to execute while I'm out of state. He adjusts his glasses. You're sure? Certain, I say. It's moving valuables before a storm. That weekend, Felix and I sort old fishing gear in the garage. He asks, Grandpa, do you want to go on this trip? I glance over my glasses. What makes you ask? Dad's acting weird. Nicer, but fake. Like he's keeping you happy for something. He shrugs. Good instincts, I say. Don't ignore them. He leans closer. I heard Mom tell Dad to make sure you're packed, like it's a big deal. I smile at their predictability. Don't worry, Felix. I'll be ready. The week before departure, Lucas leaves a printed itinerary on the kitchen table. Flight details, hotel confirmation, planned outings. One glaring omission. No return flight for me. Must be a typo, he says when I point it out. We'll fix it. He doesn't. That night, in the leather notebook Anna gave me our first Christmas, I finalize my moves. 1. Safe deposit box keys tucked in my jacket pocket. 2. Neighbor, Mr. Klein, instructed to deny Lucas or Clara access to my property. 3. 2 security cameras set to record to an off-site server, motion-triggered, aimed at the front door and garage. The plan feels bulletproof. Departure day brings pale spring light with a hidden chill. Lucas is overly cheerful, Clara quiet. Felix lingers in the doorway as we load bags. Bye, Grandpa, he says, voice heavy. I bend down, pretending to check a bag. Keep an eye on things, will you? He nods, eyes wide. At the airport, Lucas keeps checking his phone. Clara vanishes twice, mumbling about checking boards. They urge me to board first. The flight is calm on the surface, but their every polite word carries an undertow. 2 days in, I seize my moment. While Lucas and Clara lounge by the pool, I excuse myself for a walk. In a quiet hotel lobby corner, I make 2 calls. First, to my lawyer. Execute the transfer now. Second, to Mr. Klein. All quiet? Quiet, he says. Your son-in-law stopped by yesterday, wanted garage access. Said you asked for something. I said no, good man, I reply. Back at the pool, Lucas is on his phone, voice low, urgent. He hangs up when he sees me. Everything okay? I ask. Fine, he says too fast. Clara avoids my gaze. By day 4, their cracks show. They're edgy, distracted. Lucas takes more calls. Clara drinks heavier at dinner. That night, I catch fragments of a heated whisper through the hotel walls. You said it'd be done by now, Clara hissed. It's not my fault, Lucas snapped. He didn't leave the documents where they were supposed to be. I smiled in the dark. They were chasing the old trust papers I'd planted as bait, unaware they were worthless. On the last morning in Florida, Lucas approached me at breakfast, his face carefully neutral. Papa, Clara and I have to handle something this afternoon. Mind staying at the hotel? Not at all, I said. As soon as they left, I opened my laptop and checked the home security feed. At 2:13 p.m., Clara's car pulled into the driveway. At 2:15, Lucas joined her. They tried the front door, then the garage. Both locked. After a minute of frustrated gestures, Lucas pulled out his phone, likely calling the locksmith they'd lined up. But Mr. Klein appeared on the footage, crossing the yard with his dog. Whatever Lucas said, Mr. Klein shook his head. Clara tried, all smiles and waving hands. Still no. 5 minutes later, they left, their plan dead in the water. I closed the laptop and treated myself to key lime pie. On the flight home, Lucas was silent, Clara sullen. Only Felix seemed genuinely happy to see me when we pulled up to the house. How was the trip? He asked. Relaxing, I said. And productive. Lucas shot me a glance, but I just smiled. This round was mine, and I wasn't planning to lose the next. The first morning back was eerily quiet. No cheerful Lucas in the kitchen, no Clara humming as she bustled about. Just the clock ticking and Felix's video game humming upstairs. I sat with my coffee, letting the silence stretch. Silence, I've learned, speaks louder than any showdown. When Lucas finally appeared, his hair was tied back tighter than usual, his eyes avoiding mine. "Morning," he muttered, grabbing a mug. "Morning," I replied. He poured coffee and sat opposite, fingers tapping nervously. "Papa, about the trip. It was nice, right?" "It was," I said evenly. "Gave me time to think." His eyes flicked up briefly before he hid behind a sip. Clara shuffled in. Her usual confidence dimmed. She moved cautiously, like someone avoiding a trap. I noticed dirt on her shoes, not Florida sand. "You two sort out that business you had while we were gone?" I asked, stirring sugar into my cup. Lucas froze. Clara glanced at him. "Yeah, nothing to worry about," she said. I smiled into my coffee. "Good. Hate for you to waste a trip." For the next few days, I played my role flawlessly, tending the garden, reading in the afternoon, chatting with Felix about school. Outwardly, all was calm. Inwardly, I was tightening the net. Wednesday, I called my lawyer. "Time for step 2, I said. He chuckled. "You always liked a slow burn, Hans." "This one demands it," I replied. Step 2 was simple but brutal. A new amendment to my will. Leaving the house to Felix. Held in trust until he's 25. Lucas and Clara wouldn't see a cent unless they rebuilt the bridge they'd spent years torching. Friday evening, Felix slipped into my study, holding a sheet of paper. "Grandpa, is this yours?" Found it under the couch. It was one of the fake trust documents I'd left out weeks ago, the ones Lucas and Clara hunted in Florida. "Thanks, kid," I said, taking it. "Must have slipped out." He hesitated. "Dad was looking for something like this. Said it was important I held the paper, nodding." Felix wasn't stirring trouble. He was just sharing what he saw. It confirmed Lucas hadn't quit. He was still hunting leverage. Saturday, I gave them more rope. At breakfast, I casually mentioned heading to town for paperwork. Lucas's eyes narrowed slightly. Clara chewed her toast harder. When I returned, I left a manila envelope on my desk, labeled "Property Transfer Final" in bold marker. It held blank paper. By evening, it was gone. Lucas avoided me all night, while Clara paced the hallway, phone in hand. Sunday. The cracks widened. I was pruning Anna's rose bushes when I heard raised voices from the kitchen. "You can't just dangle it like that," Clara hissed. "What do you want me to do?" Lucas shot back. "He's not handing anything over." "Then we make him," Clara said. I edged closer to the open window, a rose thorn grazing my thumb. "Not yet," Lucas said, quieter. "We need to know what he's done. If he's changed the documents, we're screwed." They were already screwed. They just didn't know how deep. That night, Felix knocked on my door. "Grandpa, Mom and Dad are different. They fight a lot. I chose my words carefully. Now sometimes people fight when they feel something big slipping away." "Are they losing something?" I looked at him. "Not you," I said. "Never you." Monday, I made my move. After dinner, I called Lucas and Clara to the table. "I've been thinking," I began, hands folded, "about the future, this house." Lucas's eyes flickered with hope. "I know you're worried about what happens when I'm gone," I continued. Clara leaned forward. "Yeah, we just want Felix taken care of," she said quickly. Lucas nodded. I smiled. "Exactly. So I've made arrangements, I didn't say what." The vagueness was deliberate, letting it gnaw at them, leaving them to wonder how much they'd already lost. For the next week, I kept the pressure on. I left folders with half-visible titles on my desk, made quiet phone calls when Lucas was near, stepped outside for important calls. Their anxiety climbed. By Friday, Clara's patience broke. I came home from a walk to find her in my study, rifling through drawers. "Looking for something?" I asked from the doorway. She jumped, slamming the drawer. "Thought I'd fix that loose handle you mentioned." "I didn't mention any handle," I said, voice calm but sharp. Lucas appeared in the hallway, face pale. "Clara, need help in the kitchen?" he said quickly. She brushed past me, avoiding my eyes. That night, I locked in the final piece. I called my lawyer to confirm the signing of the amended will, set for just days away. As I hung up, I glanced at my study's closed door. In the hallway, Lucas's voice was tight, whispering to Clara, "If he signs whatever that is, we're done." He was right. I went to bed with a rare calm. For the first time in months, maybe years, I wasn't reacting to them. They were reacting to me. They didn't know the real storm was still coming. The next day, I was trimming hydrangeas in the backyard, the cold nipping my fingers, when I heard soft drawers opening and closing through the cracked kitchen window. By the time I stepped inside, Lucas's voice had that low, urgent edge he used to rein in Clara. "Not here." "Wait till he's out," he said. "I'm saying we can do it now," Clara hissed. "He's in the garden." They didn't hear me enter. I stood at the threshold, letting the moment sink in. My house, my kitchen, my table, and here they were, scavenging like thieves. I cleared my throat. Lucas spun, his smile snapping into place too fast. "Papa, you're back early." Clara's hand lingered on a drawer handle. "Just looking for a screwdriver," she mumbled. I held their gazes, first her, then him. "Everything in this house is right where it's always been. If you can't find it, maybe it was never yours." Lucas's smile wavered. Clara glanced at him, then slipped past me without a word. That night, I sat in my study, lights off. Upstairs, Felix dropped something heavy, followed by his carefree laugh. Innocent, unaware. For his sake, I'd keep it that way. On my desk lay the amended will, placing the house in trust for Felix. The paper felt heavy with the future. I thought of Anna, insisting on those hydrangeas, standing in this room, urging we plan for the next generation. She'd have despised what Lucas had become. 2 days later, Lucas knocked mid-morning, his voice sugary but brittle. "Papa, Clara and I thought we could have dinner tonight, just us adults. Felix is at a friend's." I heard the strain in his tone, like a salesman mid-pitch. "Sounds fine," I said, feigning ignorance. He smiled too wide and left before I could ask more. Dinner was at the big dining table, reserved for holidays. Lucas had gone all out. Roast chicken, potatoes, an uncorked bottle of wine. Clara wore a pressed blouse, hair neat. We made small talk. Lucas asking about the garden, Clara nodding on cue. Then, plates cleared, the real motive surfaced. Lucas slid a folder across the table, papers crisp and new. "What's this?" I asked, knowing full well. "Just paperwork," he said lightly. "To simplify things, you know, in case something happens." Clara leaned in. "It's a transfer of ownership." "Keeps it in the family, I echoed, voice flat. Lucas's smile tightened. "Papa, we want to avoid confusion later." No legal mess. I skimmed the first page. Clear language demanding the deed signed over to them. No conditions, no trust for Felix. "You'd stay here, of course," Clara added quickly. "Nothing changes." Nothing. except everything. I set the folder down, hands folded. "You've been busy." Lucas's voice sharpened. "We're being practical." "You're not getting younger, Papa. It's not safe handling this alone. Not safe," I said slowly. "Yet safe enough for me to build it, pay for it, keep it up for decades." Lucas flushed. Clara looked away. "I'm not signing," I said. Lucas's smile vanished. "If you don't, we'll explore other options." "Other options?" I repeated. Clara's voice was soft, rehearsed. "We've been talking to someone about guardianship." "Guardianship?" I cut in, sharp enough to make them flinch. "So that's the plan. Call me incompetent, take the house, claim it's for my good." The silence was suffocating. I stood, chair scraping. "Here's what happens next. You stop rummaging through my drawers. You stop scheming behind my back. You remember this house, this life, was built without you lifting a finger." Lucas's voice shook. Anger or fear, I couldn't tell. "You can't hold on to it forever, Papa." I met his gaze. "Watch me." After they left the table, I went to my study. Their folder sat like a coiled viper. I slid it into the bottom drawer, not to keep, but as a reminder of who I was facing. I spent the next hour writing my lawyer, detailing every threat, spoken or implied. I made 3 copies, stashed in separate places. If Lucas and Clara thought they could bully me into surrender, they'd misjudged how far I'd planned ahead. The next morning, Felix wandered into the kitchen as I made coffee. "Grandpa, why were Mom and Dad so mad last night?" I kept my back to him, steadying my voice. "Sometimes people get upset when they can't get what they want." "Did you do something?" he asked, head tilted. I turned, smiling faintly. "Maybe I just remembered whose name is on this house." He grinned, not fully getting it, but his eyes held comfort. That was enough. Lucas and Clara avoided me for 2 days, but the air crackled with tension. They weren't done, and neither was I. On the 3rd night, I overheard them in their bedroom, the walls carrying their words. "We have to push harder," Lucas said. "If he's changed the will," Clara cut in, "we need proof. We can't force anything without it." I smiled in the dark. Proof was something they'd never find. I'd made sure of it. The final move came quietly. Saturday, I invited Felix to garden with me. As we planted bulbs, I said, "One day, this will be yours. No need to rush. The best things are worth waiting for." He looked puzzled but curious. "Even houses?" "Especially houses," I said. Through the kitchen window, Lucas watched, his face unreadable. He knew something was slipping away, just not how little time he had left. The morning of my lawyer's visit, the sky was heavy, gray with unspent rain. I sat at the kitchen table, coffee in hand, watching condensation trail down the window. Lucas and Clara were upstairs, their voices muffled but sharp. Frustration and urgency braided together. They were out of time and knew it. Felix shuffled in, hair mussed, pajamas wrinkled. "Morning, Grandpa." "Morning, buddy. Hungry?" He nodded, and I set a plate of scrambled eggs before him. As he ate, I studied his face. Anna's eyes, my mother's stubborn chin. He deserved better than to grow up thinking family meant leverage. At 10 o'clock sharp, a knock came. I opened the door to find Carl Becker, my lawyer of 15 years, standing there with his leather briefcase. "Morning, Hans," he said, stepping inside. Lucas's voice drifted down. "Who's that?" "Carl," I called back. "Here to review some paperwork." By the time Lucas reached the bottom step, Carl was at the dining table, documents spread like a quiet judgment. Lucas crossed his arms. "You could have told us you had company." "Didn't know I needed permission," I said. Clara appeared in the hallway, her neutral expression cracking. Carl cleared his throat. "Shall we start?" I nodded. "Go ahead." He slid the first document to me. "Not this transfers the house and lake cabin into an irrevocable trust for Felix. You retain residence rights for life. Upon your passing, it goes to him directly. No other parties have a claim." The pen felt heavy, but as my signature scratched across the page, a weight lifted. Lucas's face paled. "You're giving it all to Felix?" "Not all," I said, meeting his eyes. "Just what you plan to take." Clara stepped forward. "You can't," Carl cut in, calm. "He can, and he has." Lucas's voice sharpened. "Papa, we were just trying to help." "Help," I repeated. "By rifling through my drawers? Talking to lawyers about declaring me incompetent? That's not help. That's theft in a polished suit." Lucas's mouth opened, but no words came. "Carl, the next one," I said. He placed a single-page letter before me. "Revocation of all prior power of attorney agreements. From today, only the appointed trustee acts on your behalf." Lucas's jaw clenched. "And who's that?" "Felix is too young." "I am," I said. "Carl handles it until he's of age." Clara's voice rose. "So we're cut out entirely?" "You cut yourselves out," I said evenly, "when you stopped seeing me as a father and started seeing me as a signature." The silence was final, unyielding. Lucas turned sharply and left the room. Clara followed, muttering under her breath. After Carl gathered the signed papers, he looked at me. "This will hold, Hans. But stay sharp. Entitled people don't just walk away." "I know," I said. When he left, I stood by the window, watching raindrops hit the driveway. That evening, Felix sat beside me on the porch. "Dad's upset," he said. "He'll live," I replied. "He said you took the house from him." "I didn't take anything," I told him. "So I kept it from going where it didn't belong." "Will it always be here?" "As long as you remember why it matters," I said. 2 days later, Lucas and Clara moved out. No goodbyes. The quiet they left was strange but welcome. I left doors open, let the rain's scent drift through rooms long stifled. I fixed the creaky porch step, tightened the loose shutter Anna used to nag me about. Slowly, the house felt mine again, not just on paper. Weeks passed. Felix visited often, sometimes helping in the garden. One Saturday, planting tulips, he asked, "Why didn't you give them what they wanted?" "Wouldn't it be easier?" I set down the trowel. "Easier, sure. But easy isn't right. Give away what you built to avoid a fight. You lose more than the thing. You lose yourself." He nodded, eyes narrowing like he was storing the lesson. When the trust papers returned, stamped from the courthouse, I sat with tea, reading the confirmation. The house, cabin, and land secured for Felix. That night, I walked every room, touching the door frames, the worn banister, the windows Anna once polished to a shine. "I did it," I whispered to her armchair. "They won't touch it, not now. Not when I'm gone." The house seemed to sigh in agreement. Then came the twist. A week later, clearing out the upstairs closet Lucas had used, I found a small wooden box behind an old suitcase. Inside was Anna's silver locket, missing for over a year. I'd thought Lucas sold it. With it was a folded note. Papa, I know you think the worst of me, and maybe you're right. I can't undo what I did, but I couldn't keep this. It's hers, and it's yours. I'm sorry. Lucas. I stood there, the locket warm in my palm, the note trembling in my hand. It wasn't redemption, but it was something. Revenge doesn't always end with victory. Sometimes it ends with a crack in the wall you built, a sign that even amid greed and betrayal, a thread of humanity lingers. I didn't know if that made things harder or easier, but I knew this. The house was safe. Felix's future was safe. And maybe, just maybe, Lucas's soul wasn't beyond saving.